Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is G. You're watching Allastrology for week of August 4th and the following 7 days. We have Uranus and Mars. We do have a full moon this week. Okay, we have Mars going to an extreme degree this week, and then it will go to another extreme degree as it enters a new sign. All right, so with that said, we are in the process of going through deep changes with values because we are still with Pluto at 2. 2 degrees is our values, the money, the desires, the love, the lust. Think Venus, think Taurus, the banking, money in the bank, values of the group, values of the oligarchs, values of the rich, powerful, and infamous and famous. Like this is a big deal because it's a retrograding Pluto, which will show you the undesirable. I mean, it's desirable for somebody else, but as an outsider looking in, it's like, holy shit, you're joking, right? Or no, you wouldn't joke about that. That's horrendous. This is Pluto. When Pluto's in a retrograde in Aquarius energy, it's going to bring you, it's going to show you stuff, it's going to drill down, and that stuff that's going to come up will likely be surprising, shocking, and be like, what the hell? And it's, again, the abuses of power from those who have extreme wealth and extreme power. And it's some of those things that you read about in books and watch in movies and sometimes, yeah, you hear about it, but you're like, oh, is that true? And you just don't know. When Pluto is showing you stuff in a retrograde in Aquarius, yeah, you can pretty much take that shit to the bank. On this chart, that big trine, Mars is part of it. So it's Mars at one end, Pluto at the other, and Uranus and Sedna at the other to make up the grand air trine. Communication, learning, news, group energy, shocks and surprises, equality, fairness, balance, relationships, because we're talking air. It's kind of, like I said earlier, it's kind of like the shit that's in movies. It can be some raunchy stuff. Venus and Jupiter, they are conjunct this week. You see this? They're getting close. Venus isn't especially fast, but it's at 5 degrees here, and Jupiter is at 12. These are the two benefics of the zodiac. This is a great time when these two get together. So judgments, Cancer energy is the public. So this can be something that the public can get behind, something where the public is like, yes, finally, right? Something good is happening. Good news is on the way. Good news is here. There's been news about housing. Think of this Venus and Jupiter conjunction as be a very beneficial time. The conjunction, like exact, happens at 13 degrees, the Aries degree. I mean, you have to have something at 13. You could have something at 7, 8, 9, 10. Jupiter stays, right? It's not a fast mover. It's Venus that's going to be moving. So as Venus starts moving and getting closer to Jupiter, if you have objects there, this can be a beautiful time. There can be gifts, there can be benefits, there can be protection that swoops in, there can be some sort of ease that occurs in your life, like a prayer is answered, a dream is achieved, or even maybe just some steps getting closer to that dream. Maybe it's got to do with travel, right? Maybe it's got to do with family and ancestry. Maybe, we think of Jupiter being quite gifting, benevolent, confident, gracious, and generous. Jupiter energy, and the gift of emotional intellect, which is, I get the big picture, the big aha, with values, love, desires, and money, because it's Venus. Okay, so this is setting up this whole week and getting stronger by the very end of the week, where they will meet up at 13 degrees. This week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Mars 28, 29 degrees. You see Mars right there, 28 degrees. It goes to 29 on Tuesday and it stays there on Wednesday. So that's a critical degree. It's in Virgo. So we're being very critical. Critical degree in critical Virgo. Right. It's the details, the minutia. This can be beneficial if you need to get down to the details. You need to find out what's going on. Mars takes action with the details. Mars is also in Virgo going to be the fixer. You know, Virgo energy is like, how can I make this better? How it's like the what's the word I'm looking for? You can go in and you fix something, you go in, you fix something else, and you just have that knack, right? So Mars wants to take action. It's not just about recognizing how to make it better, but I'm going to make it better. I've got that energy and I will take action with it. 29 degrees is usually the billionaire degree, right? So the 29 degrees, we're getting close to 0 degrees of Libra relationship energy. And that includes your love relationships, very important partnerships, and then business partnerships. It's the trine to shocks and surprise Uranus, you see, and it's a trine to Pluto. Mars moves pretty quick, so Mars will trine Pluto by the weekend. By the weekend, you've got a really strong trine. So Mars and Pluto together is watch out energy. It is powerful partnerships. We also come to the full moon week. Now, with this full moon, it also happens at the end of the week. All right. So keep in your mind what we've just talked about as far as Mars. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, critical degrees. And then Thursday, Friday, 0 and 1 degrees of Libra. Saturday, trining Pluto, right? Taking action, partnerships, equality. At the same time that Mars and Pluto are trining, that's when we have our full moon. And it is in Aquarius. I do have another video out about the full moon. If you want more information on it, go check that out. But the full moon is Saturday in Aquarius at 16 degrees. Yeah, I said it. 16 degrees. This is the moon degree. Family, homes, housing. And this housing thing might be a big deal because they're changing some rules for housing for people to be able to get loans. So they're trying to make it easier for people to get loans. We shall see how that helps or hurts. Juno is partnerships. When it's in Scorpio, these are deeply bonded relationships. These can be emotional bonds, physical bonds, blood bonds. We think of taxes, inheritances, but bonded energy, deeply, intensely bonded, powerful energy. 17 degrees. The sun is going to start squaring up with this week because we got the sun at 12 and we've got Mercury at 6. Okay. So the sun will be climbing up in numbers here, right? So the sun goes from 12 degrees to 19. And what that means is by the weekend, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you have the sun and Juno partnerships, deeply bonded relationships in a strong square. Okay. And technically it's a T-square because there's a lot of energy around the 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 degrees in Aquarius. So it's difficult energy. It's stress and tension with the fixed signs. Remember, fixed signs. Okay. So it's like you're talking 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 degrees, a fixed T-square. It's stress and tension. Okay. And these deep bonds with physical intimacy, wounds from the past, trauma, tragedy, Juno, partnerships. These are people we usually would marry or they're very, very, very personal relationships, right? Very personal. And because it's Scorpio, it's shared interests. So there is a little bit of money involved, like the natural resources of the planet are involved in a way too. So it can look a lot of different ways in your chart. You're just looking for the degrees and the house numbers to figure out how this works out for you. I anticipate this week can be very stressful for the fixed signs. At the same time, there's a promise of deep change, or at least the beginning of the deep change. But what I love most of all about this week is the two great benefics will come together. And I'm hoping with you that as people who are part of the greater collective, that we get more and more better news that is looking out for the little people and not the extreme rich. It's time for the people to have their say and to get their fair share. May Venus and Jupiter bring that to us.